Hello, welcome back. This is the video, the continuation of valuation model part 1. This is part 2 SPM subject. I am now on page number 237. I already covered 8 questions in the past video. Now it starts from 9th question. If you haven't watched, watch that because it includes few concepts. So you are required to know that concepts to solve the future questions. Okay, so now I'm on illustration number 9, and one thing is there that if you haven't yet subscribed my channel, so do subscribe the channel before watching the video. Okay, now illustration number 9. Illustration number 9 talks about warrants. What are warrants? What are warrants? If you'll ask, warrants are given by company. It's an option which has been given by company to buy shares at a specified price. Okay, if the warrants are being issued, like we can buy one share for one warrant. If the company gives one share, 1:1 ratio, that means we can buy one share for one warrant. Okay, now the price would be fixed. Say the price is, in the question is like 11.71 price. But if in the market the share is available at rupees 10 and we are given the price 11.71, now this is our right whether we have to exercise the option or not. If someone is giving you a biscuit for rupees say 20 and the company is giving you at rupees 15, so what would you do? You would buy from the company. You are not going to buy from your friend. Okay, now say if I am giving you biscuit at rupees 25 and the company is giving you at the biscuit at rupees 20, so you are going to buy from the company. You are not going to buy from me because I am charging you more. The same is happening here. The warrant, the company is issuing warrant, one warrant for one share. Okay, the shares cost in the market is rupees 10 while the company is charging you 11.71. So you are not going to exercise this option. You are going to buy from the market. So in this case, if someone asks you what is the market value of the warrant issued by the company, you would say there is no market value because I am getting in less amount I am getting from the market. Okay, so in this case, if we'll find the difference, it is a negative amount, that is 1.71, but this is known as intrinsic value. What the company is selling and what the market is having the value, the difference is known as intrinsic value. Whenever the intrinsic value is negative value, we are not going to take this value, we are considering 0. We are not going to do negative value because no one sells at negative prices means it starts from 0, so we will consider intrinsic value as 0. Now the same is the question. Later it has been told that we got to know that market value of our warrant is 0. Now the question extends as the warrants are detachable and it's been traded at rupees 3. In market, these warrants are traded at rupees 3 and we are having the market value of the company which has given us the warrant is having 0 value. So if we'll think, if we have to buy from the market, we have to pay rupees 3, but in fact the price is 0. Above the price is the premium. This is known as warrant premium. Okay, now in the second part it has told the current price of share is 16.375. The market is selling for 16.375. One share value is this much, while the company has given us right to buy at 11.71, then we are going to buy the 11.71 and there is a market value of the warrant issued by the company. There is a difference between both of them. The difference between both of them is 4.665. So in fact, if we'll see, the price is only 4.665 and above this, if the warrant is been sold at 9.75, as it has stated that it's selling at 9.75, above this price it's all premium which we are to pay. In real, this is the value, but above this is the premium amount. Now you can understand the concept which I have told. If you are not able to understand, then you can put up the values in the formula, but better is to understand what is the concept. Now Shyam Limited has announced issue of warrants 1:1. 1:1 means one warrant for one share for one warrant. Okay, the share is in the market is sold at 10 rupees, while warrants tell us that per share value is 11.71. Market is selling at less price, so the intrinsic value is negative, but we are not going to take the negative value. We are going to consider as 0. Okay, because no one is going to sell for negative prices. Okay, now this warrants, the value which we have found is 0, but this 0 value warrants are being traded in the market for rupees 3. So if we are required to buy from the market, we have to pay rupees 3. Okay, we have to pay the premium, so that is a premium amount 3 rupees. Now the same question extends, like now the current price is 16.375. Now the share price has risen to 16.375, while the exercise price is 11.71. Then we are going to buy the share at 11.71 rupees from the market. Okay, so the market, the minimum value, that is the theoretical price, is 4.665 minimum price. But above this price, if we are paying in the market, that is the premium amount. If we are going to buy from the market, this is the real value of the warrant. But above this, the warrants are being sold at 9.75 in the market. That means we have to pay the premium amount. If there is no warrants given by the company, then the premium amount which we are paying is this much. Cost is this much, but above that which we are paying is the premium amount. Okay. Now illustration number 10. What does illustration number 10 says? Now illustration number 10. Illustration number 10 is based upon the formulas which are given above it. Now what it says, 5% debentures, preference shares, 25 par value would be converted after 3 years. This would be converted into equity shares of rupees 27. Okay. Now if the current market price of equity shares is 13.25, what is the conversion value and conversion period? Okay. So what we are going to find is, first we are going to find this 25 rupees preference share is going to be converted after 3 years for rupees 27. We'll first find the ratio. Okay, we are going to first find the ratio, at what ratio is going to get converted. After finding the ratio, we'll get the market price has been given. If we'll multiply it with the ratio, we'll get the conversion value. Okay, after finding the conversion value, what they have given, what is the conversion value and conversion premium also we have to find. And the convertibles are traded at 17.75 in the market. So that is, this is the market price. Now we have to find our minimum value. Like in the previous question, how we found, this is the market price. We have to find the theoretical price of the convertible preference share. Now expected return as 8% is been given. Putting it into this formula, first we are going to find the conversion ratio, that is par value is 25 rupees upon 27, so we'll get 0.9259. Then we will multiply it with the market price of the equity share, then we'll get the conversion value. Okay, later we will find the value of the stock, preferred stock, that is preference shares value. How the preference share value has been found? The preference share value is found like this is the formula, P0 D1 upon K, as I explained you in the last video. D1 upon K is dividend. Dividend is 5% of 25, that is 1.25 upon K, expected return is 8. So if we will divide, we will get the value as 15.63. Now we have to take the maximum, that is the higher of both of them. If we will take the higher of both of them, then it is the 15.63. If we will subtract with the 17 market price of the convertible preferred stock, we will get the conversion premium. Illustration number 11. This they have given the company selling the share at rupees 32.50. The rate of returns are being given like 7% for debt. Preference shares are at 6.8%, 11%. Capital structure is also given. So if these informations are given, that means you have to find the weighted average cost of capital. Okay. Now the company's debt value is 145 million and 65 million. Okay. Free cash flow for the year to the firm is 28 million. It's going to grow at a constant rate of 4% for foreseeable future, means infinity period. The tax rate is 35% and 8 million outstanding shares. Now this is to be calculated. So first let's calculate the weighted average cost of capital. So the weighted average cost of capital, 11th question. If we'll see, there are debt, preference shareholders and equity shareholders. The weights are given as 0.30 weights, 0.20 and 0.50. Now the rate of return are be given 7% before tax rate, that means 7% 1 minus tax rate. Here this is 6.8%, 11% return. If we'll multiply it, we'll get weighted average cost of capital after adding 7% minus 0.35 means 4.55 into 0.30 gives 1.365, 1.36, 5.5. Adding this, weighted average cost of capital is 8.225%. So what else they have given? We have to find the firm value. Value of the firm is, the formula is free cash flow to the firm at the level 1, year 1, WACC minus growth rate. Okay, so they have given us for the year is 28 million, that means they have given for the 0 period. Now if we'll multiply with 1 plus growth rate is 4%, I think 4%. So we'll get free cash flow to the firm at the year end. This 8.225% minus 4% would give us the value of the firm. So we got the value of firm as, if we'll calculate, we'll get 689.23 million. The units used are all in millions. Okay, so this is for firm. If we'll remove debt, if we'll remove the preference shareholders value, we'll get value of equity. So the debt value are 145 million and preferred stock is at 65 million. So reducing both of them, value of equity are 479.23 million. But for one share, if we have to find, we'll divide it with number of shares. Number of shares is 8 millions. If we'll divide this with 8 millions, we'll get value of one share. So one share is equal to 59.90 rupees. Okay, but what the question says that the company is currently selling at 32.50, but the value which we calculated, the share value must be 59.90, means the company is selling at less value. That means we have undervalued the company, or we have undervalued the share value. It should have been sold at 59.90 and above, but we are selling at less price. That means we have undervalued. Now illustration number 12. What does illustration number 12 says? Illustration number 12, Sandhit Corporation is considering for going public but is unsure. This is the what all the questions, I am not reading all. Weighted average cost of capital has been given. That means we have to find the free cash flow to the firm first, because in the question this has been provided, then we have to find free cash flow to the firm. Now 14 lakh is the debt value, 5 lakh is the preferred. If we will reduce those values, we will get this equity, free cash flow to the equity. There are a few further calculations. The estimated the cash flows for the next years are being given. That is 2009 to 13 value is been provided, but here some correction is there. We have to, they have given 2012 and all, but we have to make the correction. 2009 to 13 values are being provided. Beyond the 2013 value, the company is going to grow. Cash flow is going to grow at 4% annually. If you will see, when do we apply this formula? This formula is applied when we are having even cash flows, but here the cash flows is differing. It's differing for every year, the cash flows are different. And one thing you understand, that is the solution through which they have solved is wrong, because if you will calculate this portion, you are not going to get this value, and this is wrong which they have done. So I'll tell you how it's been solved. Illustration number 12. Let's first draw the time scale. So first comes the 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 13, 2014 and it's going to for infinity period of time. As the cash flows are not even, the cash flows are being provided, like in 2009 it's the cash flow is 2,50,000, then 2,90,000, then 3,20,000, 3,60,000, 4 lakh. The cash flows are being provided. Just we have to bring to the present value all the cash flows. But as this is free cash flow to the firm value, we are going to discount this with WACC. So the formula would be FCFF 1 plus WACC to the power time. 2,50,000 1 plus WACC, if the question is given 12% to the power 1 plus 2,90,000 1 plus 12% to the power 2, and so on. Okay, so here 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 4 lakh 1 plus 12% to the power 5. Up to this much, if you'll do the calculation taking 4 decimals, then you will get up to this much period. After this, what they are saying, beyond 2013, the growth rate is there, growth rate of 4% is there to grow, and its infinity period value. That means we have to find the terminal value growth. How terminal value is been found? Terminal value is FCFF upon WACC minus G multiplied by 1 plus R is WACC to the power T. So while finding the terminal value, as I told you, we are going to take the value of this year. How we'll get the value of 2014? We are having up to 2013 value 4 lakh. If we are multiplying 1 plus G, that is G is growth rate is 4%, you'll get this value 4 lakh multiplied by 1 plus G. This is going to give us 4,16,000. Weighted average cost of capital is 12%, minus growth rate is 4%. 1 plus WACC, 1 plus 12% raised to the power T. Terminal value is from 2013. Now we have to come to the present value, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years. So we have to discount it with 5. So after all this, after adding this and after adding this, we are going to get about 4,088,324 something. This may vary because of the point differences and all, but approx, if you are going to take 4 decimals in the calculations, then you are going to get this much value. In the question, the solution is given wrong because they have not considered, they have taken the 4 years only and they have done differently. I think this is wrong. And later we have, this is the free cash flow to the firm value. If we will remove the debt value, 14 lakh debt, and preference value as 5 lakh, we will get for the free cash flow to the equity holders. If we will get free cash flow to the equity holders, that is 2,188,324. If we are going to divide with number of shares, that is 2 lakh, we are going, at the last we are going to get the value as 10.94 million. If you will calculate, you will get the value 10.94. So this is how it's been solved. Now illustration number 13. Here you might have thought why this value without growth, why this is not used. Why this is not used? Because these cash flows are uneven, different. So we are going to bring every cash flows, we are going to bring to the present value. But here in the terminal value, the growth rate is given and the terminal value is going to be infinity from this year onwards. So we will take the same terminal value formula. Okay. Now illustration number 13. This is a relative valuation. True Value Limited is planning to raise the fund. The information has been given. Sales, comparable firms approach. You have to use the comparable firms approach. True Value Limited is planning to raise funds. The values of different companies have been given. Like 3 companies have been given. We have to find the True Value Limited's real value. Okay. So what we will do, we'll, 3 companies have been given. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 13 plus 14 plus 15 plus 16 plus 17 plus 18 plus 19 plus 20 plus 21 plus 22 plus 23 plus 24 plus 25 plus 26 plus 27 plus 28 plus 29 plus 30 plus 31 plus 32 plus 33 plus 34 plus 35 plus 36 plus 37 plus 38 plus 39 plus 40 plus 41 plus 42 plus 43 plus 44 plus 45 plus 46 plus 47 plus 48 plus 49 plus 50 plus 51 plus 52 plus 53 plus 54 plus 55 plus 56 plus 57 plus 58 plus 59 plus 60 plus 61 plus 62 plus 63 plus 64 plus 65 plus 66 plus 67 plus 68 plus 69 plus 70 plus 71 plus 72 plus 73 plus 74 plus 75 plus 76 plus 77 plus 78 plus 79 plus 80 plus 81 plus 82 plus 83 plus 84 plus 85 plus take all those values, we are going to find the ratios. Most famous the ratios which are used are this ratio. So we are just going to divide with the each one, that is 190 divided with the 230, sorry, price 230 divided with the 190, let's find 230 divided with 190, we'll get the first value, that is 1.21. The same way we have to put the values. After finding the values, the average has been found. The average is used for the true value limited parameter. After finding the all those values, we got the value as per price upon sales, price upon earnings, price by book value. Now what they have told is equal weightage is to be given, 50% weightage. Now suppose the 1 is the weight which we are taking, 50% weight is to be given to earnings, and the rest 50% is to be divided, and it's to be equal weightages are to be given. So that means 2.5, 2.5, 0.25. Now this equal weightage has to be given to sales and book value. So we, from the question itself, we know how which ratios we are required to find, like sales, earnings and book value ratio. So this method 352.5, the weight is been multiplied and then added, will get 312.675. Now illustration number 14, ABC Limited requires an initial investment of 12 lakh. Let's read the last line. They have told us to find free cash flow to equity. Okay, 12 lakh for its new store, 4 lakh borrowing, interest rate is 8%, interest is paid for 5 years, principal with interest at the end of the 6th year both has to be paid. Interest tax deductible at 36%, but the principal payments are not tax deductible, that we know. The cash flows to the firm, cash flow is being provided, and to the firm is been provided. We have to find cash flow to the equity. So if FCFF is given, how to come to equity? If free cash flow to firm is given, to come to equity, what we do? I think it's getting blurred. Free cash flow to equity, if we have to find that, we'll subtract interest 1 minus t minus net borrowing, sorry, minus here would be plus FCFF plus interest 1 minus t, because we are going to pay from the firm, we are going to pay the debt holders, plus the new borrowing which would come, it would be of firm, while if we are going to repay, then it would be minus net borrowing. Okay, so we'll get free cash flow to the equity. So how this has been done here, free cash flow to firm is been provided. What this net borrowing includes? Net borrowing is new debt, debt repayment is subtracted. I think this you know. Now interest, this is added, this is subtracted. You can make the signs. Interest 1 minus t and FCF. This is how we can reach free cash flow to the firm. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years are there. What they are saying, first year the cash flow is going to happen as 12 lakhs. Okay, and from that 12 lakhs initial investment is there, 4 lakh is going to come as borrowing. This is new debts, 4 lakhs is going to come as a borrowing. Now interest is paid for this 4 lakhs at 8%. Okay, so 4 lakh into 8% is going to be 32,000, but is tax deductible. If we deduct the tax 32,000 minus multiplied by tax percentage is 36%. So if we'll multiply it with 64%, we'll get 2480. So every year we are going to add 2480. The last year we are going to pay interest plus the principal amount. So the principal amount is 4 lakh. So this we are going to pay. This is minus because it's going from our firm. And what the cash flow has been given, cash flows to the firm are expected 80,000. Initially it's going to be 80,000. This is going to grow at 30%. 80,000 for the first 4 years. Okay, 80,000 plus 30% if you do, 80,000 plus 30% is going to be 1,04,000 plus 30%, 135,200 plus 30%, 175,760. Okay, after 4 years it's at 75% from the 5th year. Okay, so multiplied by 75%, it's going to grow. Okay, so we have to add that. So we'll get 307580 and last 538265. So this is how it's been calculated. What you can do for easy calculation, whatever the minus signs are there, you can make it like in bracket so that your answers while calculation does not comes to wrong. Now 12 lakh is, this would give 8 lakh is minus figure. 8 lakh minus this, you can 80,000 minus this, you can solve this, and later at the end of the value you can get 117. All those values you can get 117,785. This is how it's mentioned. Now illustration number 15. What illustration number 15 says, Alpha Industries is trying to buy Beta Limited. Okay. First they are told generate negative cash flow of rupees 10 lakhs during the first year. So during the first year the cash flow is negative 10. After that it is the cash flow from the second year to 5 years they have provided as this cash flows. Okay. Now after the 5th year, this is the terminal value, it's going to grow at 5%. For the first 5 years the discount rate is 15%, and later in the terminal value the growth rate is going to be 8%. So let's make the time scale first. Illustration number 15. Time scale is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and infinity. Cash flow is in the first year cash flow is 10, second year 5, 10, 15, 20. These are uneven, so we'll bring every one to the present value, but the KE is provided as 15%. So this you can do, bringing to the present value, and we'll add all those values. So we'll get up to 5 years. After 5 years is going to grow at 15%. It's going to grow at 5%. After 5 years, it's going to grow at 5% growth rate, and the discounted value is, the KE is what they have given is 8%. Okay. So we have to put it in the equation. See, if we are going to find the terminal value from the 5th year, so we are going to take the 6th year's value. 6th year's value would be 21 plus D, that is 5%. So we'll get the free cash flow to the firm at the year 1. Okay, now I think it's to the firm, and then we'll discount it with the G multiplied by 1 upon 1 plus R. This R would be of this year because we are going to bring it in the front. This terminal value we have found from the 5 years. So if we are going to come to the firm, this is to be 5. So free cash flow to the firm is 20 into 1 plus 5, that would give as 21 upon R is K is 8% minus the growth is 5%, multiplied by 1 plus the R should be of this, because we are bringing to the present value 15%. This period we have taken 15%, now raised to the power 5. If you will calculate, you will get the value as 700. If you calculate, we will get the value as 700. Now we have added both of them, this also and this also, and we are getting the value. Later what they have told is, बस हमको उतना ही फाइंड करना, वी आर ओनली रिक्वायर्ड टू फाइंड दैट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू द फर्म, दिस मच वी फाउंड, एंड the 20.185 has been added, we got the value, nothing else has been asked. Up to this much is only asked. Now illustration number 16, free cash flow to the firm and free cash flow to the equity, we have to find both of them. We have been given the statement of income as well as the cash flow statement. So just we have to find, when the cash flow statement is given, how to calculate this, that is a challenge, how to calculate. That is the only question difference in this. Illustration number 16, we have to find free cash flow to the firm and free cash flow to the equity. If we'll find one, we can find the other with the 2-3 adjustments. Let me know how we do. Free cash flow to the firm, if we have found, free cash flow to the equity would be, from this value we will pay interest 1 minus t, and any net borrowings whichever is going to happen, we'll add that. So free cash flow to the firm, we are being provided net income. So how this is done, net income, in fact we do not have to subtract the interest, but as the question is given net income value has been provided, so we have already subtracted, so we'll have to add that interest 1 minus t minus non-cash expenses, that is depreciation and all that, add. Later what we do, minus changes in working capital minus any capital expenditure which we are going to incur. So we will find the answer. Now net income in the question, as it's been provided as net income is 285. So let's take that 285. Interest expenses 130, tax is 40%, 130 into 60%, 130 into 60%. Then depreciation is 180. Here depreciation value is 180. Changes in working capital, how changes in working capital is to be calculated. Here the last line in the cash flow shows changes in the working capital. It starts from here. What the values they have provided is minus 39, minus 44, plus 22, plus 23. If we'll find the answer, we'll get minus 38. So minus 38. Now capital expenditure. To find capital expenditure, we will take gross fixed asset value. Gross fixed asset value. Why we will take gross fixed asset value? Because depreciation adjustment we have already done, so we are not going to make the adjustment again and again. So gross fixed value, the increase has happened to 2501, 2850. The increased value will take. The increased value is 349. So after doing the calculation, we'll get 156. Now we have got free cash flow to the firm 156. We have to minus interest 1 minus t, the same value here, 130 into 60%. Net borrowing, how we'll get the net borrowing? Net borrowing is given the cash flow statement. In the financing activities, this is the net borrowing, because notes payable, long term debt, this is the net borrowing. So net borrowing is 10 plus 40, that is 50. So 50. So after doing the calculation, we'll get the answer as 128. So both the ways we have found. There are many other formulas which they have used, but at the end we have got the answer, so we got the answer. So I'm not going by any other formula. Now illustration number 17. ABC Limited has FCFE of 170 crores and 130 crores. FCFF is given, one FCFE is provided, WACC is given, cost of equities and growth percentage of both of them has been provided, and terminal value. We have to find the terminal value of both of them. If we'll find the terminal value, later they have given the debt value. Okay, they have asked us to find value of ABC using both the approaches. There are two approaches, as in the illustration number 12, I think we found through, in the illustration number 11 we found through FCFF approach. What we do in that FCFF approach, we find the FCFF value, then later deduct debt value and preference share value, then we'll get free cash flow to the equity. Okay, that is the one value. Other value is to find through free cash flow to the equity value. So both the answers they have asked, through both the answers. So let's find that. Illustration number 17. Free cash flow to firm is 170 crores. Free cash flow to equity is 130 crores. Okay. WACC is used for this part, 13%. Cost of equity is 15%. This is expected to grow at 7% terminal value. You have to find. Here the growth rate is 7.5%. Now let's find. It's very simple. Put it in the value. FCFF, this is 0. We have to find the one value. WACC minus G. Okay, so we'll get the terminal value. So after finding, I'm not calculating because it would take much time. So the answer is 331.67. Okay. Now in the same way, if we'll put this value FCFE at the one value KE minus G, we are going to get as 1863.33. But they have asked to find with using both the value, we have to find the value of equity. This is the equity value, okay, but this is the value of firm. If we'll subtract the debt value is 1500 crores, we are going to get as equity value. So these are the two approaches used: free cash flow to the firm, free cash flow to the equity approach. So by finding this approach, we are going to get the value 1531.67 crores. You can solve it. I am not solving all the questions because it's going to take more time. Now illustration number 18. You are required to find company share. Okay, net asset method. What we do in net asset method? Net assets has been found. Net asset is all the assets minus outstanding liabilities. Outside liabilities. Then we have to find the value of shares on the base of capitalization method. Capitalization method is we will find the future maintainable profit after tax divided by capitalization rate. Both the methods through which we have to find. Okay, so there are few adjustments to calculate for future maintainable profit after tax. See, the market value of land and building 9600. You are going to take the revalued amount in the net asset value. After taking the value of land and building at the revalued amount, the remaining assets we have taken. Total assets minus creditors is only outside liabilities. If we do, we'll get 216. Net asset method is also there in chapter number 7. What we do there, if we divide the net asset method with the number of shares, that is 10 lakhs, we'll get the share value as 21.6 of one share value. Now future maintainable profit is, they are given the profit as 64. In the future maintainable profit, we do some adjustments, like the adjustments are like the expenses which is going to happen in the future, we are going to deduct. They have told the advertisement expenses are going to happen, so it's in the future, so we'll minus. Depreciation is going to happen every year, so we have deducted, we have subtracted less. But some of the expenses, some of the incomes, that is extraordinary income and the investment, this is not going to happen in the future. That means this is only for abnormal gain, we can say. So we are not going to include because it would cause the calculation, that would vary. Okay, if next year that gain is not going to happen, that means today the value will show overvalued, and later if we'll calculate, that would be undervalued with a huge variation. So what we'll do, we'll remove those extraordinary income which we have taken this year. So income has been deducted 4 and 1. So we'll get future maintainable before tax. After providing 30% tax, we'll get future maintainable profit after tax. Applying capitalization factor, 16% is given the question. So this is the 210 is the value of business. If we'll remove the debt value, we'll get the value of equity holders. If we'll find the equity shareholders value, if we divide with the number of shares 10 lakhs, we'll get the value as 18. So by this method we are getting 18 rupees, and by the net asset method we are getting the 21.6. We'll take the average price as a fair price, average of the both. Now illustration number 19, a company manufacturing debt and equity, they have given the ratios, that is weights they have provided 0.30, 0.70. That itself shows what we have to find. We have to find the weighted average cost of capital. The total debt is also provided. The company's debt value is 8%. Okay. The beta is given, and risk, market risk, premium, everything is given. That means we have to find CAPM model, KE value, cost of equity value also. Both the values we can find. The cash flow is 2 million. Okay, 2 million free cash flow to the firm has been provided. Firm is there. If we'll find the WACC, if we'll find the value of firm, and then if we reduce with the debt value 10.82, we'll get the value of share value. After finding the value of equity shares, if we divide with the 1 million shareholders, we'll get value per share. This is how it's been calculated. If we'll see, first we'll find the weighted average cost of capital. For weighted average cost of capital, we are given the weights, okay, and 8% has been provided, but equity value is not given, how much rate of return. For equity return, we have found through CAPM model After finding through CAPM model, we got 14%. After finding 14%, we put it into the weighted average cost of capital formula. Later we got this much value. Value of firm we know FCFF1 level upon WACC minus G will get the answer. Reducing the debt value will get for the equity shareholders, dividing with the number of shares will get one share value. These questions are repeated, the calculation, that's why I am not doing again and again. Now illustration number 20 is little bit important and little bit you have to be careful here, because here year 1 2.5 million, 2.9 million, everything is given. Tax shields are available. If we are taking the tax shields benefit in the free cash flow, then we are not going to take the benefit in the weighted average cost of capital, where we do the debt weights are being multiplied with 1 minus t. There will not take the benefit. Okay, so here what they have told 1.50 million, there is the tax shield available. Tax rate is 40%, so 6 lakh is the tax shield. If they are being added to the first 3 years. Okay. Now for the year 4 onwards, they are not told about this, so we are going to calculate with the old weighted average cost of capital, which we have calculated in the previous question, that is 11.24%. And for the year 4th onwards, it is the terminal value valuation. So terminal valuation is been done, so we'll get 57.21. But as I told, the weighted average cost of capital would differ now, because we have to bring this all the cash flows to the present value. So we'll have to use a weighted average cost of capital, but we cannot take off the previous question. Till first 2-3 years we cannot do that. From 4th year onwards it's okay. So we have calculated this value, but while bringing to the present value, we require the revised weighted average cost of capital, because we have taken the tax shield benefit. We cannot take the tax shield benefit both the ways. There also in the cost of capital, and here also we cannot take. So the weighted average cost of capital formula, we'll find the revised one without 1 minus t value, so we'll get 12.20. Then we'll discount. Okay, after that, if we'll discount, we'll get 48.88 million. Okay, now equity value, that is value of the firm minus value of the debt. Debt value is 10.82, which is given the question. This is the value. Now dividing with 1 million shares, we'll get 38.06 per share.